Welcome to the Boston Office 365 user group, everybody.
Good evening.
What do we got here?
We got one live one.
We've got organizers. We've got Mr. Dimitri sitting across from me, David Losey, and he who is not present, Mr. Jeff Borowski. Please file all complaints to Mr. Jeff Borowski, as is tradition. So last time, Mr. Scott McFadden was here, and, well, not here, but at the group, and did a session on real-world Office 365 external collaboration. Very cool stuff. I know I learned a lot. I learned a lot about security, and like really deep security settings. There's some cool stuff in that session. So, and that's, is that now on YouTube?
That is on YouTube.
That is now on YouTube. What's that?
Did he go into AIP?
He did go into AIP, actually.
I recognize the acronym. Yeah, I think he did.
Azure Information Protection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're using it as well. So.
Yeah. Yeah, but
That's a safe assumption.
I thought the most interesting part of that session was when he pointed out to people that guests can invite guests by default.
Yeah.
And the number of oohs and ahs and gasps in the room when that was announced, and everybody frantically logging in to check their settings. So that was cool. That made the whole session worth it. So
that's the value we bring here.
Great job, Scott. All right, so since last time, in just the past month, Microsoft has pounded out a ton of updates into Office 365. It has also been brought to my attention that they have also been holding back on a whole bunch of announcements because they're about to do the SharePoint conference, and there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff announced there. So next month, we're going to have a huge bucket of updates to talk about.
Keep doing that.
But until then, this past month, they released an update for SharePoint lists to be created from Excel sheets, which we've been able to do that for a while, but also now from other SharePoint lists. So we can use a list as a template to create another list and import a bunch of settings and columns and I believe even views. In addition to that, the interface for this is going to be radically changed from the previous create a list from an Excel spreadsheet, even though that has been in there for a while. They're basically creating a new interface that can do both of these options right from the get-go.
Quick jump in.
Yeah.
The old create from Excel has been there since forever.
Yeah, forever.
It's been completely broken for the last 6 months if anyone's tried to use it.
Really?
Wow.
Fix that. It's a new feature.
I used to use that a lot. I used it a lot periodically, but not.
I could use it
Probably not in the past 6 months.
Edge.
And it's probably safe to say that creating from lists, at least, as a template at creation does not update. If you change the template, it's going to change your list. Sometimes we think a template needs to carry changes through and add it to it, but I'm guessing that's not the case here. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That don't get hopes up too high. We still need to write code for some stuff.
Yep, but this should help.
No, this is awesome.
Anything that helps, right?
Yeah.
So this has been targeted for targeted release mid-May. So as soon as I saw that, I checked my tenant. It isn't in my tenant yet. So we'll see. There's a link at the bottom where you can see a demo of this process as well. Microsoft has also launched a new YouTube channel called Microsoft Teams Platform. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to development for Microsoft Teams. So brand new channel. There's about 13 or so videos up there right now, and it's only been up for about a week. So lots of good stuff. Another resource to kind of keep an eye on if you guys are interested in doing some custom dev work for Microsoft Teams. And multi-geo capabilities are now available. for Office 365. So for those of you that may have clients or direct customers that have data security and location issues, you can now specify where your data is going to go per SharePoint list, or per SharePoint site or team site. Right? Isn't that what that says? Yes, and OneDrive. And OneDrive. So you can set it up to have data centers in multiple geographies and have everybody have their data be local to them. This is very important for those that have any concerns around GDPR and probably some other standards as well. And VIPs with Outlook Mobile. So in Outlook Mobile, very soon, we're going to be able to specify, let's work. Oh, I can't see it on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Light on light.
Yeah. But what you're going to be able to do is actually within Outlook, you can specify certain people and tag those people as favorites. And then you can change your email notifications to only notify you when you get emails from those users.
Nice.
So if you don't want to be nailed for every single email that you get, you can specify, hey, just let me know when these come in, things like that.
For the record, you would all be in my favorites list.
Is there a limit on how many favorites you can have?
I have no.
I mean,
the
there is a limit of how many favorites you can have. What is it?
Right, yeah, exactly.
I haven't found it yet.
Good answer.
So once again, upon learning about this update, I checked my phone immediately, and I don't have this update yet, so I wasn't able to play with it. But also the documentation on it did not get anywhere near that specific. For those of you that are now checking your phones, the way that you would add a user is you actually go into the contacts, and in the contacts there will be a star next to their name, just the same way you would follow a SharePoint site or a team. You click the star, and that adds them to your favorites.
Do I have contacts?
Just do the little star, search on the bottom, you'll get to them.
Oh, that's right. They hide it there. That makes sense.
Nah.
So
Yeah.
No. Oh,
I know I found a good update when everybody grabs their phone. Everybody dives in.
It's not showing
Good
up
stuff.
there.
I don't have it rolled out yet.
Yeah, I don't have it on mine
I have a star, but it's not showing up in the screen.
because I would definitely utilize it.
Do you have an iPhone? That's fine.
That's why, meaning we get the updates first, because it's there.
Nice.
And then another interesting announcement that I found is that SharePoint Conference is going to be launching SharePoint TV on Twitch.
Dang it, and I
So
was gonna
Microsoft
actually
now
do
has
that.
its very own Twitch channel, and they're going to be using that to stream SharePoint Conference 2019. So for those of you that can't be there in person, you can actually watch it live on Twitch. They also noted if you can't catch it live, they will be posting it all of the stuff from Twitch to YouTube afterwards. So,
I had no idea what Twitch was. We were talking about that.
yeah.
Unless you're a gamer like me, you're
I
not
was
gonna
just say I know lots of gamers.
Yeah.
So. Who knows about Twitch?
Does Microsoft own Twitch?
No, it does
Not
not.
to my knowledge.
No, no.
But I mean,
not
you know,
yet.
I wouldn't be
Give it time,
surprised.
give it
but-
time.
Okay.
Actually, I
They're
think
kind
there's
of
one guy-
following Amazon Web Services that holds its Las Vegas thing over Twitch as well.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Microsoft's following the leader.
Why not? Soon they'll be buying the leader. You know?
Just saying.
Favorite people? Look at that. Boom. Done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Works great on iPhone.
So you got it to work.
Yeah.
Glad I could help.
Cool.
All right. So that's the last of the updates that I have published up here. That said, there are literally hundreds that have come out in just the past month. So this is by no means an all-inclusive list. Anybody have anything that they noticed, caught their eye in the past month or like about? To do. What happened to do?
Anybody using Planner?
Yes, you.
The To Do app now integrates with Planner, so you can see your tasks assigned to you in To Do.
They brought
To
that
Do
back.
is your personal task list.
the pop-up sheet.
So you can now get flagged emails and your Planner tasks in your To Do app, along with all of your personal tasks.
Yeah, I really like the.
I've fallen in love with. I absolutely love To Do.
I really liked the flagged emails upgrade. That was.
Yeah.
I think that was new like last month or so.
Yeah.
Relatively recent, and that's cool because I've always been flagging my emails as a task anyway. So I'm like, oh, now they're right there.
Keep an eye on the thread as well. People are asking questions, correct?
I know. I just pulled that up.
Okay.
I got it open.
What is Casella? Yeah.
It's a whole topic
What
into it.
is Casella?
That's going to be retired into Teams, I believe.
Really? Is it?
Casella is frontline chat, right? That's the app. Have you used it yet?
I haven't had a chance to use that.
Yeah.
Honest to God, people keep asking me this, and I have to Google it every frickin' time, and whatever it is, it's not significant enough that I remember it.
No.
Wow.
It's a frontline chat app for your frontline workers. It's just another chat app. My understanding is good.
That must be.
It might actually already be integrated in the Teams mobile app, but not the Teams.
It is.
We need.
It's in Teams already.
Yeah, it's already in Teams mobile, but not Teams desktop, I don't think.
Our front line's actually going to be being brought on.
Yeah.
We got F1 licenses for all of our store associates.
So it's just another chat app.
Right. So that's why I wasn't paying attention to it. Because Office 365 needs another chat app, like it needs a frickin'
The world needs another one.
like, yeah, I was just gonna say, and that's just in the realm of Office 365. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I hear 5?
5?
Going once?
There's another feature that's rolling out now, where if you are a guest user to somebody else's O365 tenant and you need to sync their files into your OneDrive, previously you could not do that. There's a new concept of B2B sync, and if you want to block your employees from syncing content from others, there's a new registry you can deploy to block.
All right.
Huh. Interesting. Anything else? Anybody else here? Any updates? Twitter. This posted that he noticed that Flo can grab emails from follow-up flags. Oh, that sounds cool.
Nice. Go
Flo
Flo.
can grab emails from follow-up flags.
I think, yeah, that's been there.
That's cool. That's been there?
Yeah, I will flow that does that.
Nice.
It was buggy, so maybe
Maybe it now works.
yeah, and then
There's a
re-announce it
concept.
as new.
New update. This works this time. This thing that we released 6 months ago, now it works.
Yay,
All right. Cool.
Follow
Very
Flo.
good. So just wanted to give a quick thanks to Slalom Consulting for sponsoring their venue. Very cool.
Yep. So, real quick, restrooms are back towards the elevators. Women's is on the right of the elevators, men's is on the left of the elevators. Go through the security door, they're out there. If you hit the other security door, you won't get through, but they're not through the other security door, they're next to the elevators.
Roger that.
And you know where the beverages are,
And can we
enjoy
come
the
back?
pizza.
Can we come back in?
Yes, the door should be propped open,
Okay.
I hope. If the door's not propped open, let me know, but it should be still propped open. Yeah, and there's another, we actually have an open training space that seats 7,500 people that I was hoping to get. I know we fill it, but it's a nicer space.
7,500.
No, 75 to 100 people.
You're a liar over there. 7,500. Wow, that's like a...
Thousands of people, that might be a little too
The
big.
Kansas Arena's stars.
Yeah, it's small.
Oh, Fenway over there?
That unfortunately, what you may not realize is there's actually 2 other events going on right now in this space. So I just say that because I'm proud of our new space. I love our new space. Look forward to us hosting more events here.
It's a very long table.
It is. Impressively long.
Might actually hold enough food for me.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. And bigger thanks to.
All right.
Wrestling for it.
Allure
And our
Security.
second thanks is to Allure Security.
That's me.
That's you.
That's you, sir.
There you go.
Thank you. Hey, that worked. All right. Well, thank you very much for having me here and for letting us sponsor this. This is actually really cool. I'm not a sales or a marketing person, so I'm
All right.
despite my handsome face and my clever demeanor, I'm actually the head of products. So I work with the engineering team, and I'm supposed to know how what we're building works. We're actually located out in Waltham, small company. We've been doing work around document tracking for a while, and recently released a couple months ago an integration with Office 365. OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams as well. To get, and I'll sort of describe it. How this all works, and what my main motivation is to get feedback, and I'm always interested in what people think about what we're doing, what can we do to make it better, what did we miss, that kind of a thing. So the sort of backdrop.
Good crowd for feedback.
Okay, I love feedback.
We like picking stuff apart.
Okay, super.
Yeah, we'll get you a crying towel.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you a chance at the end to do even a better job than that. So anyway, here's the problem that we're trying to address with what we're building, what we've been working on for a while. It's basically all around documents. I mean, somebody mentioned AIP, right? You said you had somebody talking about AIP. So similar type of problem. People are worried about where do documents go and who has access to them, and they're going where they're supposed to be going. We're concerned about that problem too. You'll see in a second how we sort of address it, but especially any organization is more and more concerned about that, especially as they start to store everything in the cloud. It's not on premise, it's not behind their firewall and IDS, IPS, et cetera. And we did a study with ESG, and I like this statistic. 22% of organizations suspect they've lost cloud data, and 50% know they have. So there you go.
That's because guests can invite guests.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, and you lose control.
It's that kind of thing, and people take different approaches to address this, and these are good approaches depending on the circumstances. I'll start with the middle one. DRM, which is Azure Information Protection, is really an example of that. It's really great for locking down documents, knowing where they're going, be able to revoke them. We've done a good amount of work with. I actually know the engineering team at Microsoft that worked on this and talked to them pretty frequently. But it does require either an automated way to tell which documents ought to be protected this way, or a user to, proactively do this. And good luck, because they don't. So, in some situations you can get them to do that, but it's really not good for broad-based protection. DLP is good for scanning for things like social security numbers, credit card numbers. A lot of documents that you want to protect don't have that, and CASBs are pretty expensive and complex depending on what you're trying to get out of them. We also do something around the deception space. I don't know if any of you have ever tried to deploy honey nets as a technology to protect a client. It's pretty involved process. So we're trying to go for something that's a little simpler than that, where what we do is we integrate with Office 365 and we watch documents very carefully. We track everything that's going on them, and we're assessing them for risk. We can also we have some unique patented technology where we can beaconize files and watch them even after they've been downloaded and taken off network and opened up remotely. And I can answer a few questions about that. And we also have, the third thing we have is some ability to put alluring documents, honey documents, or we call them decoy documents, into an environment, fake documents where you can put them out there and say, and we'll notify you if anybody ever touches them, because it's probably somebody poking around, or maybe somebody has broken into a file share. It could be on-premise, doesn't have to be. So this is the solution that we that we have available. It's a software as a service solution, so nothing to install at the client location. It integrates with Office 365. We get audit trail events for every action that a user does on a file: download, upload, modify, preview, all the actions that they do. And then we risk score those. So we actually do geo lookups on them. We can tell where they're located. We get organizational information. We filter out the CRUD, because there's a lot of CRUD in those records if you've ever looked at them. And we try to give you, actionable intelligence out of that via, alerts, reports, etc. And we can also beaconize these. I won't get into too much detail on that, because it takes quite a bit of time, but I can answer questions. But we can take these documents, Office documents, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and PDFs, and make changes to them such that they signal back when they're opened up in the wild, if they're off network. So the types of indicators we get for this is we can do geo activity since we map the activity. If you have an organization that really only has employees in Massachusetts, doesn't have any offices overseas, we can sort of say, hey, we're going to alert you if something happens that is overseas. Or if you shouldn't have people accessing your tenant from a different domain, a person with it's not acme.com, it's something else or whatever it is, we can alert you when that happens too. Or at least bubble those things up so you can take a look at them, even if you don't want to get annoyed by alerts. So we do that. We look at types of activities, anonymous activities, uploads of things like, could be executable files, bat files, things that maybe you want to know about that could be potentially malware, people changing file extensions. That's a common exfiltration technique, that kind of a thing. And then there's actions you can do to try to clamp down on those if they seem to be inappropriate. This is an example of what our dashboard looks like in the product. You basically, to install it, we set you up with a tenant. You ask for a new cloud connection. You authenticate with Microsoft. It shows you the privileges. We want to read your events. You say okay, and boom, we go back, read the last week's records automatically, and then we start going from there on. And then we risk score every one of those from 1 to 100, and the most risky ones sort of bubble up to the top. We give you a map showing where the activity is. We give you a breakdown as to why we thought that activity was risky, if there's anonymous users or downloads or sensitive files. We show you who your active users are, your active domains, et cetera, and give you a nice way to tell what's going on in that environment. And then if you do have something you want to drill into, this is an example of a particular event. Hey, we know that we gave this a really high risk score, and it turned out the reason was there's the file at the top, there's the user, what they were doing, and we risk score it. We say, hey, it was in a forbidden location. You said you didn't have anybody in Europe. It was a confidential document. It was downloaded by an anonymous user. That's like about as bad as it gets. And so, we sort of add up these scores, and then we go, ding, that's 100. If you want, you can get an email when that happens, or it'll just bubble up to the top of the dashboard. You can drill down if somebody says, hey, whatever happened to this document? Who touched it? Where did it go? We'll watch everything that happened to that. We can trace it back. And not only that, we'll track things that you wouldn't be able to easily tell. Like if it gets renamed, we know what all the old names were, and we can say what happened, or if it got moved, or every person that touched it. So if you have a forensic situation, you want to drill down and say, hey, what did this user do? You can see everything they did, everything that happened to a document. It's good for forensics. Maybe you're worried somebody's leaving you.
That search can be either document-centric or user-centric?
Exactly.
That's cool.
Exactly. Yep. You can say, I want to see all my downloads. I want to see everything this user did. I want to see everything that happened to this document over time. It's very flexible in that way.
Cool.
And it's really simple to use. I mean, it's just click, click, click. So that's the application that we make.
Where's it installed?
So it's it's running in the cloud. So there's really nothing that you need to install. I can set up, typically I set up a new tenant, or one of our service guys sets up a new tenant, and you get a welcome email. You log in, you say, I want to connect to the cloud. You specify, you authenticate with Microsoft, and we start sucking in the records, displaying on the dashboard. A lot of times we'll sit there and, spend a few minutes with you to say, well, which geos do you want to have be, forbidden or risky? Which file systems, which file shares do you want to monitor? So you can say, I only want to monitor these sites, or you can say, I want to monitor all the personal OneDrives or not, and you can drill down to whatever level you want. You can monitor everything. But if you, know where particularly sensitive files are, you can say, hey, these are sensitive files, and it'll pay more attention to those.
Is the cost model by repository, by tenants, by?
It's by the number of end user accounts that it's collecting events for.
Okay.
Yep. That's pretty much my presentation. The one thing I want to say is a part of this, we have a number of accounts that are already actively using this, but we're always looking for more feedback. And if you want to try it out, it's so easy to try out that if you want to give me your business card or sign up, I'll put somebody in touch with you. Try it out for free, up to 90 days, and just all you have to do is, after you've tried it out for a couple weeks, just get on a phone call and let us know what you think. $100 gift card to Amazon.
90 days is a long trial for this.
Yeah.
It feels like you find some stuff out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, you
Very
should.
cool.
We've done.
Probably catch a few things.
There's everybody that's installed this and run it has found something surprising.
Yeah.
I can
Just saying.
tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
People have
I wish I
said,
had access to my
why is there so much? I mean, so I installed it for a finance company, a small finance company. They had, I don't know, maybe they got 15 people, something like that, pretty small. But they were like, why is there somebody in Korea accessing all these files? And they didn't know. And now it turned out that it was okay, but they were quite surprised.
Yeah, but at least they know now.
We definitely have found things where people said, oh, that was really not a good thing. There was an organization that somebody had uploaded really sensitive medical data onto their shared drive. I have no idea what it was, but it was accessed by an anonymous user. So they have no idea who got that, and it was really sensitive information. So
cool.
Anyway, so if you're interested, I've got a few data sheets here. You can pick one up. Give me your business card, or write your name and email address down, and we'll get you set up. It's a low effort
Awesome.
situation. So.
Sure.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thank
Sure,
you
you're
very
welcome.
much.
Thanks. It's okay for me to stay for the rest, right?
Of course. Please do.
Okay, thanks.
We go for drinks after it.
Okay.
Can you pass the clicker, please? Actually, Dave doesn't have any clicker worthy.
I don't need no thinking clicker.
All right. Bear with us as we try to switch screens to Dave presenting.
Dave's not here. He's out getting the stuff. I can do that easily enough. I'll just take over presentation.
And then I gotta drag my screen up here so everybody can see.
All right.
Privacy policy nonsense. Goodbye. And go to full screen. I like the new Staples logo. Any story behind that?
Yeah, there is.
It's a staple.
It's actually a staple now?
It's not a bent staple. So the previous logo, no one recognized that the L was a bent staple. And so because of that, and plus let's say Staples is going to Staples 2.0. Basically, we're having to redesign ourselves, and that's the reason why we're in private. All this stuff you can find like on Bing like crazy. So all the stuff that I'm saying is public knowledge. But one of the things that we had to do to show that we are changing or shifting is the fact that we actually started with our logo. Now, understand, if you go to buy a retail store, it still has the old logo because corporate, which is the logo you see before you, was the first to change over. Retail is this, when we went private, we broke up into 3 different companies, also known on the interwebs as well. The fact that we changed so we could actually pinpoint our focus, our efforts, whether it's on physical store locations, whether it's North American delivery, where we're talking about our delivery system / our web-based solution, and then the third is Canada, because we have a very large presence in Canada as well. And so the way it went, corporate went first. Retail is about to go, I think, in 2 months, I believe. So that, I guess, is going to be a huge reason. None of us even know what it's going to be. So it's going to be interesting. If you go to a Staples store, pretty soon you're not going to find Staples like notepads that has a Staples logo on it anymore. We actually have 5 brands now. I can, off the top of my head, think of 3 of them. Perk, which is anything that has to do with coffee, your coffee room. Yeah. Second is True Red, TRU Red, and that has all the stuff that you would expect from a Staples store, all the office products and supplies. And the third is called Next, NXT, which is all our technology. So from USB cords to power cables, whatever the case may be, it's Next technologies.
Nice.
Anyways, now I'll catch my breath. We'll start with, so as you guys probably know, oh yeah, thank you. Let's make that small. There we go. So anyways, Skype for Business broadcast versus Teams live broadcast. Staples has been using broadcast for 2 years now. And so we learned a lot, and we bashed Microsoft over the head a lot. And so there's a lot of things that we've learned that I'm going to pass on to you. So let's start with, I guess I should introduce myself. I know pretty much everyone here, but for those who don't know you. So if you haven't figured out, I like to have fun. I'm not your stereotypical consultant / worker / IT person. I actually use both sides of my brain. I actually made a living as an actor for a couple of years. So, there's all kinds of craziness. I just got my MCSA in Office 365. I'm working on more certs as well. I've been on the speaking circuit since 2009. Getting me to start talking is not the problem, as everyone here knows. Getting me to shut up that's a trick only my wife knows. And even then, it's kind of difficult. Let's see here. But as far as that's concerned, I have my own blog. I've been a geek for well over 32 years, ever since Pong was a coin-op, basically. So, if it's either a game or electronic, I've touched it, poked it, played with it, and enjoyed it. So let's go over what we're covering. A percent of time taken, I don't know what possessed me to do it that way, but I put the ish at the end when I said, what the heck am I doing? So we're going from broadcast, so general high 10,000 foot level. Then I'm going to jump into Skype for Business broadcast, give you a demo, and actually run a very quick and short broadcast to show you what's going on. And then I'm going to go ahead and go into Teams live broadcast. Throughout this presentation, I'm going to actually point out during different points the different strengths and weaknesses of each. I didn't think it would behoove us to actually just wait to the end and have the slide go, okay, here's a whole laundry list of the things, because by that time your face is probably going to melt off from all the information you just got hit by. So let's start with broadcast. What are they for? Pretty much everyone here, I'm guessing, is on Skype for Business currently, or maybe Teams. So, hands of people in the room. Skype for Business. Yeah, you're both Skype for Business, I'm guessing. Slalom is both technically, so you guys are in island mode. I know you guys are Teams only. Skype or Teams? Skype for Business.
Skype.
Skype and you're like, I'm just here for the free pizza. I totally get it. No, I kid. You're actually probably trying to get information around this as well. Welcome everyone who this is your first time. Welcome to everyone on the call as well. Paul and Jamie, I saw you guys jump in. A couple others from Staples give me a little moral support. It's very much appreciated. Thanks, guys. So, Skype for Business, one of the biggest things that everyone knows when you create a meeting, that's fine, that's awesome, that's great. It's only to 250 people, and I'll tell you right now, Staples has an issue with that often. And why is that? Because we came from a WebEx environment and we didn't allow voice over IP at the time for WebEx, and so everyone was used to calling in. Guess what? When they call in and join with the link, they end up taking 2 slots instead of 1, so that 250 very quickly drops to 125 maximum. And let's just say you can play the Mortal Kombat soundtrack in the background half the time. So obviously that's one of the problems that all we at Staples faced. But over time, they started to understand, and that has definitely improved. But being a company as large as we are, we have, especially when it comes to all hands meetings, there are a lot of departments and divisions out there that have way more than 250. Huge problem. And how did we deal with this? There were, how should I say, very creative ways to attempt to do it with Skype for Business. None of them worked. So we had to go to Skype for Business. A lot of times, broadcasts are also used when it's informative. How many times have you had a bunch of people, let's say 100, 200 people on your Skype for Business meeting, and every time someone tries to mute everyone, and there's that one guy who likes to eat, a popcorn, and that keeps unmuting himself because he has to move everyone. You know what? You gotta let me know. I gotta let you guys know that means fiddle faddle. So, good times had by all. However, that being said, or someone ends up getting out of their car and all of a sudden it sounds like everyone's in a wind tunnel. And a lot of times that ends up causing feedback. So when it's informative versus collaborative, a lot of people use broadcasts as well. Collaborative, as you can imagine, people are talking back and forth, so that's where the Skype for Business meeting does play well. Few versus many, that's another thing as well. You could have a few people. Skype for Business is regular meeting is usually good. I have seen very small Skype for Business broadcasts for the one sole purpose of them actually creating a video, which is built in. I will get into that in a little bit when I show you, where they actually want to create a video of the information or the collaboration that they have in such a way that they can upload it to Stream or Office 365 video. The last point is broadcasts are great for all hands, webinars, and company events. Webinars I threw in there because that's definitely something new and exciting. It can be done with Skype for Business broadcasts, but the functionality that is going to be brought in Teams, and let me actually say this as a caveat. If I say something and it's not in your tenant currently, don't fear, it's going to come there. We are on the TAP program for Skype for Business, Teams, and both Skype for Business and Teams broadcast as well. We get a lot of stuff beforehand because, let's just say, we're very noisy when it comes to things working correctly. And so that's where it's coming from. So everything I'm going to talk to you guys about is definitely going to come. I will call things out that if I remember, oh yeah, like the webinar piece of it has not even hit our tenant yet. It's, I think, in the cycle, or the Circle 1, I believe. So introduction to Skype for Business broadcast. A lot of people don't even know where to start. It's a different link. There is no direct link to this. You have to know where to go. portal.broadcast.skype.com. Unfortunately, it's short. But that's the URL that you go to. You log on as you go into Office 365, and from there you can actually go ahead and configure your meeting. You're going to have a bunch of different things. We're actually in the demo going to actually build one, fire it off in the whole 9 yards. I'm actually going to use one of our broadcast servers, just so that, for two reasons. One, I don't kill this meeting because I end up using a Teams meeting, but two, you can visually see what's going on in the background as well. Because there's other things I do want to point out that, let's just say, are cool, but you have to see it all in motion. So then you create your Outlook invitation that's available to you in that configuration screen. Then you grab an attendee link. So for those of you who have corporate communication offices, a lot of times they want to make it look pretty. The invitation, they want to have it the link actually embedded in an image with really nice buttons and things like that. That's going to be something that they can do readily. Our corporate communications, that's literally all they do when it comes to the broadcast, and they make some pretty sharp invitations. Also, know your media. What's available to you in Skype for Business broadcast? It is nerfed like you wouldn't believe. That's yes, that is a gaming term. I hear a bunch of people snarking over here. For those of you who don't understand what nerfed is, it means it's cut down. It's shortened. You have less features available to you. So literally, you only have two media available to you in Skype for Business broadcast. One is a PowerPoint presentation. The second is a camera of some sort of kind, whether it's your webcam, or in our case, we have a full-blown studio production. I forgot, Mike, do you have the images that you took, the pictures you took? Because
I could probably dig them up.
Because I totally forgot to take a picture, because I think they get a kick out of that.
Okay. We have a question from somebody online.
Absolutely.
Naveen would like to know, how does Skype broadcast integrate with Yammer, and can we embed it in Yammer?
I love that question. You are like ahead of your time, but that's okay. The answer is Skype for Business cannot truly integrate and embed. Teams, on the other hand, however, can, and we are actually I'm going to actually show you how to do that. So there's several pieces of the puzzle that you're like, oh, that was interesting. And so we are definitely going to get into that. That's a great question. Unfortunately, Skype for Business, that is one of the shortcomings, that it was literally a standalone product. And it was just kind of bolted on to Skype for Business versus completely integrated into the product itself. Lastly, watch your bandwidth. Why am I saying that? Let's just say our first broadcast at Staples was with our previous CEO, Shira Goodman, when she became our interim at the time. She just took over and became our interim CEO until she was pronounced our full-fledged CEO. And because there was a lot of questions that were out there, she decided to do an all hands, and it was the first time we did a broadcast. It went extremely well, except despite the fact we have a very large pipeline going to our headquarters, because everybody in the building hit it at the same time, we actually crushed the network, literally. So because of that, you have to be really, really careful. There you go. So here's some pictures. Thank you, Mike. Of our studio. This is a full-blown studio, as you can see.
Yeah, they weren't messing around.
We're not messing around. This is if you've seen it on like CNN or ESPN or NESN or pick a Fox network, we can do it. Do you also have pictures of the green room too?
I do not.
Okay. We actually have a full-blown green room as well, where we have the CEOs talks and things like that, and those might not be broadcast per se, but during our broadcast, while people are waiting in the auditorium for it to start, we will actually run these quote-unquote commercials done by our CEO and by different staff members, so usually senior leadership teams.
How many employees do you have?
We have, for information workers, around 21,000, but we throw in our associates that are on the floor of Staples stores and retail. You're looking at closer to 35,000, almost 40,000.
And are the associates watching this? Or
That's correct.
as well? Okay.
And in fact,
So the production quality needs to be a little high.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Not a few hundred.
It's not just a few hundred people, and so, that is our, yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a pretty awesome experience, and I work in conjunction with the studio team. I'm the SME, and so the whole reason why I'm doing this talk is because we have gone through a lot of pain points. I have, let's say, had a vice president sitting like Snoopy when he acts like a vulture on one shoulder, and then a director on the other shoulder multiple times. And a couple times, the CTO was sitting on my head. Oh, so it was all three of them hovering when this situation arose, and for good reasons. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this meeting, and just show you where it's been, where it's going, and what the potentials and possibilities of upcoming is actually headed.
Just reshare your screen.
Roger that. So let's go ahead and do that. Boom. There we go. Excellent. All right, and so one other thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Question? No. Oh, it hasn't caught up yet.
We're good.
Okay, fabulous. So one other thing before I actually go to the next slide is we're actually running this on an old desktop. Let's just say we choked the bandwidth out of that and we were having issues with sound quality. We were pushing out a 10, as you would expect from a full-blown studio, to about a 5, and we could not understand what was going on. We actually had a ticket.
10 what and 5 what?
Okay, so 10 quality would be the best quality. So it would be like a true broadcast, like you would see. So if I went to CNN, the sound quality usually, unless they're like working with the webcam or something like that, is pretty clean. It's clear, it's crisp. You can actually hear it. It doesn't sound like you're in a wind tunnel. So that would be a 10. We were getting maybe a 5 with a burst of 6 and dropping down to 3s at time. And so, long story short, we go to Microsoft and asked, how do you guys deal with it? Oh, we run them off of servers. Oh, so now we have, you could have notified us about that. So while we purchased our servers, we actually got developer-grade laptops, which actually worked pretty well. The input from the studio production, it goes through a Magewell card in order to capture the video and actually be able to imitate that it's a webcam. So it's faking that it's a webcam through the Magewell card. And that's how the stream is actually pushed from a full-blown, I'm sorry?
What's a Magewell card? A
Magewell card is there's two different ones. It can be an onboarded card on something like a server, or it's a think of it as a dongle. So just like David,
video capture device.
It's a video. That's exactly what it is, a video capture device. And so it's something that we needed to actually interpret what the production studios was creating. Their entire environment's in Macintosh. They're using Blackmagic hardware as well as a bunch of other things that are production related. I would need Jeff Rich to come in because he could probably do a whole session on just how the production studio is done. The AV, it's just amazing what's being done.
Anyways, doing all the video editing and
video editing, being able to invert. We have a Skype TX unit, which allows us to use the commercial Skype client, so we can actually bring people from multiple areas of the globe using Skype and actually make it look like the Brady Bunch on our screen and have them actually have a full-blown conversation. So we could literally have a panel strewn across the entire planet and actually have them actually be able to answer questions during a broadcast. So that's just one of the many toys/tools that we have. Anyways, the servers, for many reasons, were put in, and we actually reduced, just in our network alone, we dropped down 7 hops to get to the internet.
Yep.
So that is was one of the big features as well. keep going. So let's go ahead right into the demo. So I'm going to go ahead and Alt-Tab over to... So here's one of the servers. The reason why I did it, as I said before, as you can see, I am in Teams here. We're not doing Teams right now, so let's go ahead and see. Oh, wait, yep, that's right. So
You sharing desktop or the app?
yeah, let's. I probably did the desktop, or sorry, app. So let's go ahead and do this really quick. And stop sharing, and then we're going to reshare. And let's do this. All right, there we go. Now, as you can see, we're on a server, and Teams is up and running, but we're not doing Teams right now. We are doing Skype for Business. So, as promised, Portal. As you can see, I've gone here just a few times. Portal.broadcast.skype.com. I'm going to go there. Going to have to log in.
Hey, MFA.
Oh, yeah.
White box around Skype. Really lets you know it's there.
Yeah, as you can see, let's just say development for any Skype products has been nixed for almost a year and a half
I'm
now.
of the opinion that they're making Skype worse.
On purpose.
To get us to Teams.
Yeah, that's not unknown.
He is muted. He's on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah, trust me, we'll end up having to throw a rave when the feedback hits. The only thing missing is Zoomers and glow sticks, but.
I have those over there.
Oh, okay, good, excellent. So here we are. As you can see, I actually created a demo a while back, and actually did some testing earlier as well. It looks like Jamie also has done a test as well. So I'm going to go and click on New Meeting. I'm going to go and give it a better name. So this is Boss 0365 Demo of Doom. I like to do that because I play Skylanders with my son a lot, and there's this one character that put of Doom after everything just to make it sound evil. It's phenomenal. So here we go. Let's go ahead and we're just going to run it right now. So I'm not even going to change the time. Event team. What is the event team? These are the people that actually can present. So if you have multiple people that you want to talk, you add them here. You can add them on the fly. Let's say you forget your CEO because you didn't realize you were having a guest speaker. You could add him on the fly just like you would in a Skype for Business meeting. However, that being said, it's probably better to add them here. Whoever you add here has the ability to talk. They will see the broadcast in real time versus a 45-second delay. Just something to keep in mind.
And that's a difference with Teams live event right now.
Right.
Because you cannot add them on the fly.
That is also correct. Just saying.
Which is one of the reasons we're not doing that yet.
Yep.
Quick question, when you add a presenter, do they get a notification immediately?
The answer is no, they do not. And I will actually go through that. Paul, I'm going to actually use you as an example. So I'm adding you. So let's actually do this. Paul Tower. There we go. Check names. There we go. So Paul's on the phone giving me moral support. So I'm going to add him as well as an event team member. He has not, as of yet, gotten an email. And he will not from this system because let's just say it's archaic at best. Probably built-in front page. Okay, so I got a couple chuckles. For those of you who are too young to remember front page, it's okay. We still love you.
Dave, do I need to read that email because I don't have my staples set up at home yet?
Yep, no worries. It'll go to your email, but it's no rush, Paul. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to use you as an example. I should have asked first, but I'm always just asking for forgiveness later. As you can see, there's 3 levels of access. Anonymous, exactly what it sounds like. Anyone in this planet that gets this link gets to go, literally. So at first, we actually had to do that let's just say for multiple reasons. Fortunately, there is kind of high-level stuff, nothing scary, but very quickly we learned that we were going to start using broadcast for more important things, and so that's when we started getting to all company and invitation only. All company is exactly what it sounds like. Whoever's on the tenant, who can log into the tenant, who is a native of that tenant, will be able to join. Invitation only. Invitation only is exactly what it sounds like. I put the emails down there, or like a distribution list or direct email. Those individuals alone can go. That being said, you can, so if I tested this with Microsoft, if I put someone in Microsoft here in the invitation only, that allows them to come in from the outside. Not possible with Teams as of yet. So, that being said, that's the 3 levels. We have used invitation only just a handful of times. Go ahead.
If you were to use the all company, in addition, I assume it verifies that just based on the email address. Does it have to be a licensed user in Office 365? Or is it just a domain? Do they need any Skype licensing for it? Can they be an Exchange-only user?
So the answer to that is they can join when they're licensed, when you do all company. That's where Anonymous comes into play as well. If you're sending it to, like, let's say, up to pretty soon, most of our delivery drivers did not have an account. But if we wanted them to see that, then we would have to go by that means, or have them go to a centralized location where they were actually showing the broadcast in a large environment, if you will.
So Anonymous got around the licensing requirements.
Correct.
But the other 2 options require licensing.
That is correct. That being said, I've got to be careful because when we invited Microsoft, they were not licensed in our tenant, but for some reason the external licenses did work, or did not have to work. So it's really funky fresh. You've got to be careful. I would recommend testing. We always tested before we actually fired it off. All right, so let's go on. Yeah, no, that's a good question, because let's face it, licensing can be an issue at times. And so that's one thing that you always need to keep in mind.
Especially when it comes to all company,
Yes.
with companies like Staples, where you have sometimes your floor workers don't have licenses.
Exactly, and because of that, a lot of things like our internet didn't go to Office 365 because they were not able to do things like join these meetings and such, because they do not have logins. So that's probably one of the best questions that could have been asked at this time, because you've got to be really score, right?
So does Microsoft have any thoughts about how they address disenfranchised employees?
Yep.
I mean, this happens in many businesses where there's a whole class of people who are deemed not worthy of licensing.
Yeah. Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
And, from a social justice vantage point,
Yep.
you are excluding them from core channels of information.
Right.
Yep.
And so that is where Teams is going to come in. So that's a good question. So like I told everyone on the phone and here, I'm going to be bouncing around quite a bit. I apologize, but I think it's important to answer the questions as they come in as well. Skype for Business could not handle that, as you're identifying very readily. Teams, on the other hand, when the webinar piece of it actually is released, that webinar is going to be quote-unquote anonymous, but you'll have more control over who actually joins, and that will not require licensing. So if you had a bunch of clients that you wanted to hold a webinar for a product or something like that, that would be the time to do it. That would be the actual utilization of the webinar ability of Teams. And that has not been released even to the TAP program as of yet.
you.
Yeah, great question.
Also, speaking to that, Shelley, there's a product, another company that Microsoft recently acquired with a subset that did super simple sign-ins based on like phone numbers. Where people could log in basically with a phone number. And the article that I read was saying that Microsoft is going to be integrating that into Teams so that that methodology could be utilized for Teams meetings.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it would be really helpful for people to have the ability to just sign in with their user ID number, their employee ID number.
Yeah.
Because, admittedly, there are a lot of people, for whatever reason, don't have access to a computer within the company, don't need those tools frequently,
Yeah,
except when they do,
Right.
they should be there.
And,
Yeah.
and Shifts actually has a system for that as well, because a lot of Shifts does not require a license. Because it's designed
well,
for
it's an
end
F1
users.
license, but yeah, and then there are parts of Shift that,
Oh, okay.
but it shifts as far
Yeah,
as.
the managers have to be licensed. But I thought the people that you were scheduling in there did not.
Yeah, yes, to a degree. So just the shifts. So if that's literally the only thing, I think you may be right. But if you want them to do anything like be able to see because shifts actually has been integrated into Teams as well.
Yeah,
So to be able to see the persistent chat and everything, automatically that's an F1 license.
sure.
So the answer is yeah. However, you're losing a lot of the functionality that
But
integration.
they can actually integrate the new Teams free client.
That is true too. So there's a lot of things that even I don't know.
That messes with things a lot. I'm doing some research on Shifts for one of my clients right now.
Yep.
Um,
And we're looking at it as well.
yeah, it's pretty interesting.
So I filled, the last thing I wanted to show you on the bottom, you have video recording. So this is for download and also video on demand. The video on demand is there for 90 days, up to 90 days after the broadcast is completed. And then create a video recording for download. You download it and you could put it on stream, you can put it on YouTube, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to go ahead and click create.
We have a couple of questions online.
Sure.
So Christine says, speaking of Skype for Business versus Teams, my tenant is already scheduled for a switch on the 5th of June. Did anyone get this update from their tenant who hasn't switched yet? Are there any pain points? Oh, sorry. And then P.S. This is a general question.
No, that's all right. So they're not, if you're talking about Skype and Teams in general, they're not killing it. You'll stay in islands mode only, unless you've chosen, or your company's chosen otherwise.
Yeah. And Christine, to your follow-up question about First Line Worker and Staff Hub integration, the Staff Hub integration into Teams is what we were talking about that is being called Shifts. So Shifts for Teams is what used to be Staff Hub.
Yeah. Because if Microsoft doesn't change the name of something, it kind of goes into,
Right.
It goes into the shakes.
Yeah.
So
Got to change the name.
Oh, too funny. Good times had by all.
And then one other quick question from
Yep.
Jamie is, what format is, oh, never mind, somebody else answered it. Yes, it's an MP4
Yes,
format.
it's an MP4
For
format.
recording?
Yep.
And then I had a quick question. If you forget to check that recording checkbox.
Actually,
in there-
it's all automatic. You have to uncheck if you don't want it.
Okay.
So the recording and the VOD automatically
Is
happens
there
unless otherwise.
any option to changing your mind, whether you checked or unchecked that once you're at the meeting?
Once the meeting starts, all configurations are locked down. Actually, it locks it down 15 minutes prior.
Okay.
So if
they
you
haven't
want to add a
changed that.
team member, it's not happening 15 minutes prior. So
I thought you could add a team member ad hoc.
but you could, I'm saying here on the configuration
Right.
page. I'm sorry. I should be a lot more clear. You can't change the configurations, whether the event team the video on demand, or anything like that, Q&A, which I'm about to show you, anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
15 minutes prior. So attendee page setting is set up, so here we go. You have two audience participating apps available to you. You have the right panel and the lower panel. We use heavily, actually pretty much almost exclusively, the Q&A. So I'm going to add a Q&A. And there's the other two as well. Now, here, so I remember how the question was asked, can this integrate with Yammer? The answer is it does not embed in Yammer, but you could actually have a Yammer feed kind of tie attached to it. And I'm using air quotes for those of you who aren't here, so that it basically will basically connect to any one of your Yammer groups, so that you can actually have Yammer as a tool if you don't want Q&A or Pulse, or you want to have both, which does not make sense for multiple reasons, and I can always go deeper into that if you want me to. Microsoft Pulse used to be a public was available to anyone and everyone. They since removed it from the public and is only available for Skype for Business broadcast. And it has not been integrated into Teams because Teams is rebuilding it pretty much from ground up. So, but basically, for those of you who don't know what it is, if you've seen Facebook Live where people can do happy faces and like thumbs up and stuff like that as the video goes on, and so you can see all those people, all the emoticons kind of go. Think of it as that from a business sense. You can have people, you know, if you want to have, do you like the content, do you not like the content, as a question, over time, it'll actually create a graph of saying, okay, when the CEO is talking about bonuses and raises for everybody, everyone was liking it, and then he was talking about, oh, by the way, you know, we're going to have layoffs in order to do this, and all of a sudden it goes way down, you know, into the basement level.
Bonuses for the 10 of you that stay on.
And then it goes right back up again.
For whoever's left.
For the rest of you.
Now, I'm being extremely facetious, but you get the idea. That's one way of using Pulse. Pulse also had a built-in polling system, so we could build polls do polls on the fly as well. Since then, that was great and all, but the problem is for our people in our audience couldn't participate in the polls because they were live, and so we ended up using Microsoft Forms instead, and actually the invitation allowed them to use their like mobile devices or whatnot, so that they could also participate at the same time.
Okay. That's creative.
So you could put Forms as an app in here?
No. So it was a hack. It was a workaround, so that people who were in our auditorium actually participating as a live audience were able to also join into the polls as well, because that was something that was complained about. It's like, I like to be in as a live person, but at the same time, I don't get to vote, and I would definitely have voted differently on X, whatever X was. And then all this, we've been leaving as generic or blank. However, if you guys mean your company decides that you want to have a custom link specifically for like your help desk, or for your Skype for Business team who's like on call whenever a broadcast happens, you can do the URL and the link text down there at the bottom, and it'll automatically infuse it in as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click done. We're adding Q&A. So far, so good. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click create an Outlook invitation. If I click on that, down here at the bottom, you can see ICS was automatically created. The ICS will be created and generated specifically for myself and anyone else on the event team that I added. So Paul Tower and I would have it. I would then have to save this to my desktop. Like I told you, a little convoluted. And then I would actually go ahead and save it and send it off to Paul. And Paul
doesn't get it automatically.
No, he does not get it automatically. Welcome to the wonderful world of Skype for Business broadcast. Then, here is the link. Here's the join link. This is the link that anybody can use, and this is where our attendee link is. So we grab this, copy this, send it to our corporate communications. They make it look pretty, or you can, if you're like me, and let's face it, I'm more technical than creative. I just throw it in a invitation, call it a day. Yeah. Either that or I have my wife make lovely pictures, but that's a whole nother story. Anywho, so once this is done, I'm going to go ahead and grab this URL, copy that. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in here, hit enter. So this is the event. It knows who I am because I'm still logged in. If I was not logged into this browser session, I would have to log in first to know who I am. Because I am on the event committee, I have two different buttons. I can view as an attendee, or I can join the event. I'm going to go ahead and click join the event. And let it turn and burn for a little bit.
Could you do both of those if you had like dual screens?
Do both of those. I mean,
Can you be suitable for different browsers? Sure.
You use one as a.
Oh yeah, we actually do that. Even in the studio production area, we have 3 laptops.
Yeah.
Because we run two feeds simultaneously, a backup and a regular as well, in due case of emergency. Which with Skype for Business has happened, unfortunately, more often than we would have liked, where the entire Skype for Business broadcast would just go down. And so we would have to ramp up and use the secondary as an example. Because once a Skype for Business broadcast is ended, there is no starting it back up again. That's it. And so we've had issues where it actually would stop itself.
So you just broadcast the backup and then wait to send the invite out. So you probably make the second invite to have it ready.
Yes. Or we use the Q&A of the first one and paste it in and say, guys, we had an issue with the broadcast, please move over the second. That's only happened a handful of times, but a handful of times is more than we would have liked.
Good to know.
And just for scale, how often do you guys run broadcast meetings at Staples?
So this year, we're already pushing the 90 limit, and that's quickly growing, and we only have 3 people on a production studio. That's just through the production studio, by the way, that number. We actually have other groups where the administrative assistant is actually running these broadcasts on their own for certain areas of the company as well. So the number of broadcasts, I would dare say, is probably closer to 300 to 400, I would wager.
Over what time period?
Over a 1 year span, over a year span. So, as you can see, everything looks normal. Join meeting, audio, Skype, full Skype for Business. Yes, I want the full experience because I want to be sure that I have sound. So here we are. Yay for the good guys. First thing I have to do is unmute it, or else the sound doesn't go through. Go figure. Now, there's 2 ways of handling it. I'm not going to do PowerPoint because you guys know what PowerPoint is. If you upload, share PowerPoint files, it actually infuses it into the Skype for Business meeting as meeting content, but it also does, it's the exact same functionality in Skype for Business broadcast. It actually brings it into the broadcast so that it can be used. I'm not going to do it here because I'm going to use video. This is what we normally do for our broadcasts, and the production studios has been kind enough to actually help me out in this regard. So we have, as you can see, we have our video running. This is actually coming out of our studio right now. We have it on a loop. No, this is not live. So those people, you don't have to feel bad for those people. So I go ahead and I say I want to use this, but in order to make sure there are no errors, after I said yes, I want to use this video, I have to right-click on this and say I want to make it active for broadcasting. That way there are no mistakes. And now, as you can see, the start broadcast is available to me. clicking on start broadcast, it's like, are you sure? You're right. Keep in mind, you can't restart a broadcast. So it's like Microsoft's like, are you sure? No, really, are you sure?
Are you sure that you're sure?
Exactly. And so once it's going to spin up, it's going to take a couple seconds. There it goes. It's live, and there we have it. So if I go ahead and click on here, switch over to, let's go to here, Control Paste.
Like you're presenting.
We're not seeing whatever
Oh,
you're doing.
yeah, of course, because I did it again. I'm so used to just sharing. Yeah, good times. Let's do this, and let's do the whole desktop this time because I think that's a whole better idea. There we go. Shrink that up. I'll sign in while everyone gets caught up.
We're caught up. We can read your password.
Go! Oh, there goes the neighborhood.
So by way of quick time check, we have about a half hour left in our normal sessions.
Okay.
We can definitely go long. I'm fine with that if everyone else wants to. Or we can stay on Skype and power through Teams, or transition to Teams.
I'll crush the last because to make sure to go to Teams. So I definitely don't have a problem. I just want to show you guys it indeed is working. So yes, I want to stay signed in. There we go. Because how many people here have actually used Skype for business broadcast? One. Okay, one person.
I used it once and never turned back. I mean, never used it again.
Never went back.
Never went back.
Yeah, never went back. Understood.
That's why a lot of those questions that I've been asking are like, when I did it years ago, this was an issue. Is that still an issue? Did they fix that?
Sort of.
And so far the answer has been, nope, they haven't fixed any of it.
And for the reason it was because of Teams. So.
And we can trust you that it's broadcasting.
Okay, because I'm thinking right now my bandwidth, because I'm pushing out, is probably going to choke and burn. Anyways, long story short, I would hit the view attendee link, and okay, finally there it is. We'll do it really quick, and then from there we'll continue on. It'll probably be choppy, but that's okay today.
So Andrew's got a question. When you say there is only 2 media available PowerPoint webcam, do you mean the presenters can only present from a PowerPoint and cannot otherwise share a desktop?
That is correct.
Use a whiteboard, etc.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah, that's a nice feature.
Yeah, right? That's the reasoning behind why I said it's not for a collaborative solution. It is very much a one-to-many type solution where you're basically pushing information out versus a collaboration type environment. All right, this is going to choke and burn way too long, and let's face it, I get cranky really quick. So let's go back to here. So once it's all done, as you can see, it was still going, and we're still live. We're going to hit stop. Are you sure? Because you can't restart it. Yes, I'm absolutely sure. And boom, all done. So one other thing, remember how I was talking to you about the broadband? Or the bandwidth? I never told you how we solved that problem. When you have a lot of employees congregated in one area, you've got to be really careful about the bandwidth and how many people are hitting the network. The way we handle that is we have a third party called Hive Technology to actually allow us to be able to reduce somewhere, we usually see 76 to 83% bandwidth savings. Basically, on each of our desktops or laptops at work, basically in our image, we have the Hive technology running. What that does is whoever's the first person onto a broadcast gets that information, but then as other people join, they actually join on that first person's laptop, and so it actually pushes it out.
Subnet.
So it creates under that subnet, correct. So if John is on subnet 1234, then anyone who joins from subnet 1234 will end up probably latching onto John's image and will be a couple seconds behind as his laptop turns around and ciphers or delivers the video and audio to those individuals. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hang up here. There we go. So now I'm back here, so I'm going to cancel. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the screen, and it's going to look a lot different. A lot meaning somewhat different. So, oh, by the way, as you can see here, open Q&A. The Q&A in Skype for Business can only be moderated from a completely different website. And so if you have moderators, don't forget to put the moderators on the event team as well, because they have to be able to get to the Q&A section or web page. I almost forgot that, but fortunately that showed.
Another quick question. I saw the conversation screen that is available for participants to use as well as the moderated Q&A if chosen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so when how should I say this? When I joined, I only joined as the broadcast server. The thing is, John could have also joined if he was already at home. Like I said, I kind of threw him on the spot because he was nice enough to give me moral support. But what would end up happening is that would be like a live Skype meeting between the two of us where we could broadcast. So he could have uploaded a PowerPoint presentation, and then we would have the ability to flip between the video and the PowerPoint presentation. That being said, in this case, I only used one, but you can have multiple presenters, and you'll see at the top of the screen that I showed you where I started the broadcast, where my video was, all the other presenters would show up at the top as well, and you could actually see who was on. And the chat was specifically only for the presenters, as you would expect, and so that you guys could chat back and forth, so you don't have to interrupt whoever's actually doing the presenting and speaking, so that you can ready up or queue up the next person. Like for example, I say, "Oh, Dave Losey, our CEO is going to be late. Can you take your section first, or stretch your section?"
Right.
And so that's where that comes into play.
Cool.
Pardon me, Dave?
Great, but yes.
Do you need me to interact, or can I step away for a minute?
No, please feel free to step away. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for asking. All right, so that is part one. So let's get into, let's go back here. Alt tab. Let's see here. Let's go back to you. There we go. Go. So live broadcast, it's the same draw. The reasons why you're going to use Teams broadcast are the same reasons you're going to use Skype for Business broadcast. Though the draw is going to be a lot stronger because it's a lot better. You're snarking over there?
They're talking online about some guy who is apparently known as Daryl as a service, and I find that user handle awesome.
That is pretty phenomenal. It should be made into a Teams bot, actually.
Yeah, that's just fantastic. Apparently Daryl's great, so we'll have to check him out.
So understand this, if you don't already know, Teams was built from ground up. It wasn't something that Microsoft bought, bolted their stuff on, and called it a day. So the same thing with Teams live broadcast, rebuilt from ground up. That includes the audio, because we had audio issues. I could go off on a tangent on that. With Skype for Business, I did touch upon it with the 5 versus the 10. However, there's a lot of things that they did with Teams live broadcast that they've improved upon heavily. However, there's more options available. External encoders. Because we have a production studio, a full-blown production studio, we don't want to go through their filters and their encoders and things like that, because it makes a mess of what we've already perfected as far as we're concerned. the external encoders will allow us to use a third party to actually flood what we want straight through to the Office 365 Teams broadcast service directly. In fact, we are about to do that starting
So
this
is that
week.
how you're doing the Brady Bunch view thing that you were describing earlier?
No, that's just that's just the studio productions. That's the
Oh.
Skype TX unit.
Okay.
And other things that other toys they have available in the production studio. So there's even more of that.
But you need the external encoder in order to push that out, don't you?
So the external encoder is something that we actually do not use the filters, the encoders, and there's like two other words I'm absolutely missing because my brain just took a vacation without me. I would say hopefully it comes back with pizza, but we have it over here. But anyways, so yeah, external encoders, and I can certainly get into that. Well,
No,
basically,
it's okay, we can talk afterwards about it.
okay. The punchline is you basically push a raw stream, whatever you want, into the broadcast unit, completely circumventing what Microsoft does to it.
Okay.
Webinar mode, that's coming. We've already kind of touched upon that. That's going to help us with people who are non-licensed, as well as bring other people, like clients in a webinar, the true sense of a webinar environment. And there's different media delivery options, meaning you are not tied to just PowerPoint or the video feed. You have share your desktop. You have a bunch of other things. I think Whiteboard will be made available as well. Microsoft Whiteboard, et cetera, et cetera. Built into Teams versus a different portal. Let's face it. Going to a different portal that was made from front page or Notepad, not so awesome. Yes, I keep degrading it, but it is what it is. And then it's of course more user friendly. And then the media delivery options, also, how are we pushing it out to Teams? So the Teams client can actually join a broadcast stream, so I can broadcast directly into Office 365 stream, and then Yammer, which is a question asked, and I'm going to actually skip this Teams and stream and go straight to Yammer so we have time. This actually truly embeds the actual feed into Yammer, and actually becomes a page in Yammer with its own conversation, etc. So let's actually jump right into that, just out of fear of time. So live broadcast, and then I can actually show you that. So let's go back to, there we go. So go back into Teams. Here's our Teams. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Calendar. I'm going to do a new meeting. I'm going to go ahead and name this something. So boss, awesome. Oh. Yeah. 18 of.
Is it a different URL?
So awesome
Not a meeting of doom?
No, yeah, I know, right? But
What?
I know. Okay. Let's for the sake of is I chaos, but so I'm going from meeting to a new live event. Here it is. So here we go. I'm not going to need to put a location in. Once again, I could. So now if I add a Paul Tower here again, there's Paul with Marvin the Martian. Phenomenal. Of course, I want to talk because I have Yvonne Spangler. And then I can put the details if I want. I'm going to go and click next. This should look very familiar. People in groups or wide in public. Understand, if I click public and I scroll down here, I do not have the option for using an external coder. Have a nice day, right? Good time. I know. It's not here yet. It's coming. It's not here yet. However, that being said,
So what does it use? Is it just PowerPoint or?
no, it uses the same
Microsoft
service
encoder.
as Office 365, like Skype for Business broadcast, Skype for Business meetings, Teams meetings. It's using the same service. Basically, we're just not able
So
to.
it'll handle full screen shares and all that stuff.
Azure.
It will, but the encoders and everything else,
Right.
the filters, we're kind of at their mercy. So our sound quality goes from 10 to between a 5 and a 7, even through Teams right now,
Okay.
without the external encoder. When it comes to music, talking is fine. The problem is they've optimized for people speaking, not for music and things like that. So if you, well, it does, but because I mean, literally, how many companies out there have their own production studio? Not too many. So that's the reason why Microsoft did that, and that's the reason why, because of some of us who were making a lot of noise, because we weren't the only company, they actually allowed for external encoders to circumvent this Teams meetings, encoders and such, in order to get to let those who did have a studio production
That
environment be able to have a higher quality sound. Q&A sounds familiar. Captions, it's in preview right now. Basically, that means as I'm talking, there's captions being put underneath automatically.
I think that's fun.
That's awesome.
So, and oh, by the way, that also includes 5 different languages. So, French, Spanish, and I can't remember the other 3 off the top of my head.
I think Japanese.
So does the
I think so.
attendee choose which language they want to see? Or are
Basically,
you,
it's
are you
based off of
selecting that you're broadcasting it,
Attendee.
speaking in English? and-
So the browser. So
Okay.
if they join and their native language is French.
And they
the French
pick that, yeah, it'll show French.
It'll show French.
Beautiful.
Yep. And so I could throw QA here, but in this case, like I said before, I'm going to jump straight to Yammer. So I'm not going to actually build this here. I'm not scheduling this. Why? Here's the reason. So yes, I'm going to discard those changes. There's an absolute reason as to why. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my browser, and I'm going to go to portal. Come on. Here we go. Portal.office.com.
Are you about to go into Yammer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a question about that, so I think
Yep.
you're going to answer it.
So I'm about to answer it because Yammer was a question before. I wanted to make sure that I hit it. So I'm going into Yammer, and I'm going to go to the SharePoint 101 group because I own that group. So let's go here. So here's SharePoint 101. TikTok. Come on. Here we go. You can do it. So here is my Yammer group that I want to do a Staples SharePoint user group session. I want to do a broadcast. A lot of people are joining. I'm blowing out the 250 mark. So what I'm going to do is come down here under Group Actions. I'm going to create a live event. I click on that. It's going to automatically go back to here. Yeah, switch the org. That's right, because oh, crud.
No. Yeah.
Whoops. So, anyways, as you guys go online, now let's see what happens. Let's actually see what happens.
So for those of you online, we accidentally switched tenants on the presenting machine, so who's going to switch it back now?
Yes, yes, I will. So I'm going to have to take a really
It's impressive we've gone this far without that happening, actually.
Yeah, no, it's...
With as much stuff you were demoing, it's good.
Yeah.
What I should have done was logged on, onto, yeah, anyway.
We have another video that was cut off, and the last thing you see is them switch tenant. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
now it's gone.
It's the first time. It's okay.
Not the first time.
So I apologize to everyone online, so let's see here, launch it. Actually, I should be able to just do it here. Launch it now. Nope. Okay, the 16 people are here, so I'm here. So I don't want to scare everybody. Join now. There we go.
And reshare.
And reshare. Sorry about that, everyone. I was all excited and totally forgot that I had to do it on my server. So I will do it one more time for posterity's sake. So there we go. Let's actually go back to the server and behave myself. All right, so portal.office.
Christine is praying to the demo gods for you.
Oh, thank you, Christine. Tell Yap I said hi.
Other Christine.
Oh, is it other Christine?
No, it isn't.
Christine
I
Gall.
thought it was
There's a Christine Green on here too. Unless I misread that, it is.
All right, so here we are. Let me go into Yammer on here.
Well, this shows the last initial.
All right, SharePoint 101. See, I get so excited, I can't believe I actually forgot. So, and then create a live event. Now we'll go to that one on the server. We're still running. So here we go. So it's a Yammer Boss 0365 demo Doom. There we go. We'll do it now. We're going to add Paul.
So you need to initiate this in Yammer, and then Yammer launches Teams in order to get the Yammer integration?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, that's intuitive as all get out.
Isn't it? However, that's the whole reason why, I'm doing this, because of this very reason.
Huh.
So as you can see, an external app or device is the only thing I can use.
You're in Yammer now.
Because I'm in Yammer, and the only way to do it is using external encoder in order to pull this off. So here's, I'm going to have the captions turned on. The recording is automatically added to the Yammer feed, it's held and streamed, the whole 9 yards. Good times had by all. So I'm going to go ahead and click schedule. Let that churn and burn for a second. It'll be ready, and then we can actually get this broadcast started, and you'll actually see several things. So here it is. I'm going to go ahead and join. Here's where I get the attendees link. Now notice, because it's embedded in Yammer, I actually have the ability to have different links. So I have it in Stream, I have it in Yammer, and I have also in just Teams.
Well, have you played with the Stream stuff yet?
Mm-hmm.
Does Stream have the conversation, the Q&A stuff and all that too?
It does not.
Mm-hmm.
So
Streamlink's just the video.
So Streamlink is just the video. So think of it as YouTube Live or Facebook Live, almost. No, not almost, is.
Yeah, but those have commenting capabilities and all that stuff.
They do.
Yeah.
So why would you do anything other than
Yammer?
or Teams?
For several reasons. One, Teams is not fully, we have not installed it on everyone's computer. It's only been grassroots as of right now, and only 4,000 people have Teams.
Can't they use the web client to join into the broadcast?
That's true. However, due to the fact that we had some issues around Skype for Business release, we are not taking any chances of a negative stigmata around Teams or Teams broadcast. So we, as both senior leadership as well as the Skype team, has decided we are not doing anything that may misconstrue what is possible.
Okay.
So we're not releasing to Teams, we're not releasing to Stream. We're literally making the jump fully to Yammer.
Okay, but just from a technical standpoint,
right?
Would there be any rationale other than we don't want to use the Teams name? We're not, other than the fact that the corporate culture is not ready for the Teams brand yet.
Correct.
Are there any technical reasons?
Technical reasons, no. There's no technical reason behind the outside. It's more of.
I think it's the age-old "what to use when" question.
Bingo.
Right? Why Yammer over Teams? Yeah, it's broadcast, but why Yammer over Teams? Period.
Well, exactly. And the reason is, if we do it this way and then we change it again, so we change it from Skype for Business, then we change it to Teams or Stream, then we're like, okay, we release Teams. Now we're going to do it in Teams, and oh, by the way, now I think we might be ready to try that Yammer thing. Pitchforks and torches are coming out, guaranteed.
Called Agile. It's called Agile.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, Senor Gira.
Yeah.
So anyway.
The Yammer is all web-based. There's no install for Yammer, right?
There's no install for Teams though either.
It gives you an option.
It gives you an option.
We can talk about it over beers. Continue.
Yep, exactly.
Sit here and argue argue the next 20 minutes over Teams versus Yammer.
Right, exactly. It's the adult debate.
Damn it.
Now,
We're
understand,
not actually consulting.
you can see up here that we have it's ready to start. However, it says start setup. We are not ready yet because we have an external encoder to deal with. So I'm going to click start setup. So it's going to start looking for an external code. Over here, server ingest URL, I'm going to go ahead and grab that. So control off.
That's a pretty,
It's pretty ugly, yes.
Did I miss a step? Do you have to use an external encoder when
no,
you use
I
Yammer?
chose to.
Did you choose
No.
that?
He likes making it difficult.
Oh, let's see what.
So from, I see the stream icon, it's so funny.
Let's see here. So,
Microsoft's awesome.
Yeah.
so we chose Wirecast as our external encoder, and then we're going to use the rebrand settings.
I love watching the redirects go by. You can see all the different servers, the
Mhm.
processing through. Like, oh, look, it's streamed.
So here's our third-party encoder made by was it Stream? Anyways, the product is called Wirecast. Over here we can see everything's running. Over here is live available. We're ready to rock and roll. What I need to do is do the media. Let's see here. Output settings, and then I'm going to.
They're trying to sell the chairs.
A lot of fuss on this.
Okay, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Weird
So,
chair.
Oh, you. Kicking the time for that one, right? Okay. So we're going to get along just fine. So anyways, so I put the address of the stream ingest here. I'm going to hit OK, and then over here at the top, I'm going to actually turn it on. Go back to Teams. It's ready to connect. I can now start my event. Click Start the event. Yes, I'm sure. I am positive. I want to start the event.
I really mean it.
Yeah, right. Really, truly mean it. Please. So here we go. And so it's going to turn and burn for a couple of seconds. Like I said, just like Skype for Business, unlike the 45-second delay on Skype for Business, this is approximately 15 to 20-second delay. As you can see, it's all running. Everybody's happy. It's going. So if I go back over to here, to Yammer. So if I scroll up to the top, oh, we're gonna be like that, are we? So fine, we'll hit F5. You can see this little thing here. Hey, look at me. There is a live event happening. Check it out. Live event happening here in Yammer. I can go click on here and I can start watching it. And so boom, there it goes.
Okay, so you are staying in Yammer. Okay.
And it's truly in Yammer.
Nice.
It actually becomes a
Stream logo.
And that's the stream embed.
Yeah, there's the
Cool.
stream embed.
And this works with your Hive software.
Good job, Microsoft.
So okay, good question. So the answer is yes, Hive technology does work for this. You just have to teach the tenant that to use the Hive technology.
Oh, that's too much.
And then does this make a stream transcript as well?
Yes, it does. In fact, have you used Stream before?
A little bit.
Okay. So the whole
There you go.
transcript, the closed captions at the bottom, the whole 9 yards will become,
Okay.
what was captioned and become available.
Learn all at once.
Pricing for Wirecast?
Why can't you just talk to it?
There's different, it's online. I think it was like 2,500 for a single server license. It was nominal.
Yeah, Wirecast.
Wirecast,
Open
it's
source.
yearly.
Encoder software,
There is open source encoder software that's out there as well.
OBS.
However, that being, OBS is exactly the one that Microsoft talked about. However, that being said, I said not my yard.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, it's not just that, you don't, because it's open source code, you don't know what backdoors are in there either. I am very untrusting when it comes to the tech community, especially with all the hackers that are out there. Just saying because I used to be a hacker a long time ago. Commerce 64 days. But anyway.
Still being recorded.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. If I go to Club Fed, you know, I get a vacation for the first time in forever. So,
That's true.
I've heard of vacations.
You're good, that's the limitation.
So, anywho, that is it. I mean, I could go on. Questions? Is there questions online?
Last question online was pricing for Wirecast.
Cool.
So yeah. So it all depends on what you want. There's a subscription model through Wirecast as well. So if you guys are not going to use it that often, like we are, we hammer it. So like this coming week, we have 6 broadcasts happening, almost back to back to back. It's next week is insane. But for those of you who may like the subscription model, they have a subscription model as well.
So there's no difference between Yammer and Teams live broadcast?
No. It's the same broadcast, just different way to view it. All right. Well, then thanks, everyone.
That's it?
Yeah.
No more slides?
Well, there's always more slides, but.
There's always more slides.
Seems to be true about my life.
Just saying,
We
right?
keep some blank pages being
So I'm gonna go ahead and end this event and call it a day. Go ahead and take it over.
Oh, the
That
SharePoint.
should be a nice t-shirt. There's always more slides.
I know.
Awesome.
You know what I missed from SharePoint 2007 and 2010 was the slide library.
Yeah.
I love the slide library. I was so mad when they discontinued it.
Yes.
Check out TeamSlide. The third-party product, I just demoed them. Very impressive stuff they're doing with slides.
Oh, yeah?
Very, ridiculous impressive.
Whoa, ridiculous.
Yeah, real powerful stuff. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. Thank you, Dave. That was awesome.
Very educational.
I've seen the live event option. I've always been timid because I didn't know what was going to blow up or how is IT going to get alerted. So now I know I can at least play with it more or less safely. Cool. So real quick, there are 2 big things coming up. SharePoint conference starts next week. Anybody going to SharePoint conference? All right. If you know anybody going who might be
watch it on Twitch.
You got tickets?
I know, right? If anybody knows anybody who's going who might be interested in coming back and giving us a download for the user group, that would be awesome. We could potentially align that for our June session.
Yeah.
And then SP TechCon Boston is coming up in August. The tickets are still on the cheaper side. I think the first deadline for the price increase is in June. So definitely consider going to that. Is there anything we may have missed? Any other events you want to share? Anything else going on?
Open call for speakers for SharePoint Saturday New England recently happened.
Yeah.
Oh, did it? No.
Yeah.
Good. I probably should do that too. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, nobody's allowed to do that until I get mine in. But,
Wow. All right then.
Then in October?
Yes.
yeah, sometime in October. I think they've already assigned a date, haven't they?
Possibly.
I think so.
I want to say it's the 5th.
Should have a slide.
Yeah, I
for
think
that.
the 5th.
Should have a slide for that,
Yeah.
but somebody didn't put it.
And there's also usually a SharePoint Saturday New York and
We're running late. You saw how late I got.
July, maybe?
I'm sorry?
SharePoint Saturday New York, end of July?
There you go.
I don't know.
Yes, I think it's the last weekend in July.
No.
SharePoint Saturday in New York. Here's SharePoint Saturday New England, October 5th.
Hey, 5th. We were right.
There we go.
And again, I think the call for speakers is open.
I hope so.
It is.
Highly recommend it. Call for sponsors might still be open too. Let's put it this way, I think they'll always take sponsors. Can't imagine they say no to a sponsor.
Day of.
Just saying. Right.
Hey,
Exactly.
I want to pay you. Oh, okay. So around the community, there are other user groups. So feel free to check them out, depending on your interest. Funny enough, this topic would go really well with that New England Link user group that has the Skype logo. I'm curious to see what they do when Skype gets retired completely. Maybe.
That poor user group.
I know. Have a Teams logo next to it, maybe.
They've been rebranded so many damn times.
And if you're south of Boston, I highly recommend the Hartford Office 365 user group. The buddy who my buddy runs that. He's a fellow slalomer. And if you haven't noticed, there is no Boston area SharePoint user group anymore. We've absorbed them, which is how we picked up a bunch of you all. So that's good. Next month, I may have alluded to it before, but we don't know what we're going to talk about next month yet. We'd love to talk about SharePoint conference and the highlights for Office 365 if we can find a speaker for that. If not, we will have a session. We've only canceled one session in our 5 years. We're not going to start canceling now. So we have confirmed the location is Burlington. Right? I'm pretty sure. I know he's looking at me. I'm the one who
I was
confirmed
going
it.
to say, you're the one who does those bookings.
I know. Let me just quickly check my calendar just to make sure it is confirmed for not Burlington. We're in the garage next month.
Ooh,
So we are going to be in the Nerd in Cambridge.
Nerd.
Oh.
good.
In their maker space. They gave us a
Maker
tour of it last time. Maybe we'll ask for another tour depending on if we
It
can
was
figure out the quality of new people.
really cool space, really fun.
Yeah. So we'll be there next month, not Burlington. The slide lies.
Awesome.
It's really kind of a makerspace / Microsoft demo area.
Cool. That went as well. Try that again.
Their makers were demoing HoloLens. It's pretty awesome.
Cool. So that's where we'll be. We'd like to open up this time, last few minutes. Any questions? Any problems? Any issues?
Yeah. How does one Office 365?
Anybody want to share anything they found recently that's interesting or fun?
Arthur does.
One mysterious problem. One Office 365 user has a significant amount of email being automatically directed to the deleted items folder. There is no rule in Outlook to delete mail. There are no rules turned on at all. There had been, I got rid of that. Where else do I look? And sometimes it's even from people in his organization.
You change his password, might have another Outlook account somewhere with a rule.
Stuck key on his keyboard.
No, the
Yeah.
rules for Outlook.
Or he's making
Up to
excuses.
the server.
Oh, the server? Okay, they don't.
I didn't delete it. The system deleted it.
No, and he finds it in deleted items.
Right.
He looks and he finds email sitting there.
Right.
Yeah.
That just
So you can run a PowerShell command to do a mailbox repair. You can also check mail routing rules at the server level. So somebody could have created rules at the server level. That are
No, they
tagging
don't
things.
have any clue. No, I mean, yeah.
There could be, there are spam throttles that can be set.
By
Not
user?
in Outlook, though.
But it's only
Yeah.
one guy,
It's only one
organization.
Yeah. I mean, it's a small, there are only 5 people.
But
in
you
the
could do a
organization.
But
rule at
even-
the server level.
But
that
even
would
at the
affect
server
just
level,
him.
you can do a rule at the server level that targets one user
I would look there.
or one department.
Okay.
Because we set rules that target like specific departments, so that spam filtering is nowhere near as heavy for the sales department as it is for the rest of the company. Because the sales guys are the ones communicating with all kinds of foreign entities and stuff.
And they don't like the missing emails.
And they don't, right, exactly. They don't like to
It's
miss
money.
any emails. But the rest of the company, set the thresholds much higher.
Where's that at the portal going?
Yeah, in the Exchange admin portal, you could go to the protection section, and there's a whole bunch of settings across there. You could also, the other thing that I would check, just from a way simpler aspect, is log on as that user on a different machine and check Outlook from there. Also, have them check just the web client and see if they're going to junk on the web client. That way you can kind of diagnose whether or not it's something being generated by the client or not. Because I'm getting the impression from you that there's highly unlikely that it's a server-side thing.
Yeah.
Are there any patterns in the emails that are ending up in
No, that was
the box? So
No.
Yeah.
it's not a common sender, it's not a common word, it's not a common
No.
Is there an audit log you could look?
Common recipient.
You delete the account from the Outlook and re-add it.
Well, there's that.
That way the user
You'd have
profile.
to turn on auditing.
I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could turn on auditing on that mailbox and then start
See
tracking.
what
I
happens.
still think it's a user issue.
Yeah.
Probably.
Just try to say
So yeah. Take away their Outlook, make them use the web client, see if the problem persists.
Yeah. That's
Seriously,
probably,
that
no,
may-
that,
no, that
that's
may
probably the
actually
best
do
first
it.
step.
That may actually do it. And if
Turn
that
off
does it,
Outlook, use the web.
yeah.
Start there.
If that resolves the problem, then reinstall Office.
And then Outlook's fine.
I
You
just
know.
blow, we have to blow away profiles sometimes, the Outlook profile.
Yeah, but blowing away the profile will leave all the settings in place.
Yeah.
So, reinstall Outlook.
It's not a user who left the company and came back,
No,
right?
No, nothing.
Because sometimes when accounts get reactivated, they get really funkadelic.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anything else?
Yep. I got something.
All right.
So, unfortunately, it's a show thing, so,
Oh, he's gonna take over?
yep, I am. Sorry, roll. You should know that by now. So, one of the things that was a huge complaint about Skype for Business for a long time, and the question was constantly asked over and over and over and over again, is can I play a video
Right.
in my Skype meeting? And the only way we could do it is by embedding it in a PowerPoint presentation, embedding the PowerPoint presentation into the meeting, and you had a 50-50 shot that would work and people would actually hear it. And I'm being very generous on that.
Yeah.
With Teams, I realized just recently, when you share,
That's not a thing on mine.
So again, top program, I apologize in advance. Long story short, if you don't have it, it will be there where you click that button that says include system audio. That means it will play the audio through the stream as well. So if you want to play something off of YouTube during a team meeting, the sound will be pushed through as well.
Good.
Huge. That's one of the reasons why we know we're going to have a huge win, because that is a very largely popular request, especially from our sales staff, who they share a lot of data through videos and MPEGs. So,
Okay.
Cool.
okay, you can take over now.
I think I did. Oh, no, you took over the sharing.
Yeah.
You did.
The actual screen share. Nope,
Oh,
that's just
no,
what
you
we're
didn't.
looking at.
Okay, I stopped presenting. There we go.
All right.
Sorry about that, but that's just one thing that was like so huge when
Yeah,
we saw that infused. I'm like,
Thanks for showing us stuff that we're not gonna get.
Cool.
no, it is coming.
So,
It is coming.
I just turned on closed captioning for the fun.
It's funny.
It looks like it's stuck. Thanks for showing me stuff. Big thanks to Allure. I can't say Allure, right? Allure.
Like
Big
alluring.
thank you to Allure for the grub
Like what those
For
people were doing
sponsoring.
to the chair.
and for showing me stuff
And responding.
and responding. Quality.
It did
Cool.
say preview.
No, that's for Teams. This is PowerPoint. Subtitles. It's built into PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this is native. And we're time for the raffle. So you all online, sorry you don't get dibs on the raffle, but we could. It's just email based. Maybe next session.